Good habits matter, but appetite takes things to a whole new level. It quietly runs in the background and really determines where we're going before we even think about it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How to cultivate an appetite that pulls us in the direction that we want to go, rather than that constant push, that uphill battle of resisting the things that we know aren't good for us. So we'll look at these few things. Why cultivating a new appetite feels so hard at first. And hint, it's biology, not you failing. And then we'll look at how to work with our brain instead of fighting it. Then we'll walk through an exercise together to begin cultivating an appetite in one area of your life today. Because this sort of application turns information into ownership. And ownership is where things really stick. So let's get started.
Hi there, I'm Denise. I started this fully alive journey after winning a pretty tough battle with cancer. I came away with a whole new perspective and appreciation for life. Now, as I'm leaning into retirement, I'm discovering and sharing practical ways to live a fully alive life for many years to come.
So a friend of mine's 4-year-old grandson said something recently that's just really stuck with me. It's just been kind of running in my head ever since I heard it. And what he said is, I'm learning to like broccoli. That one sentence explains so much about how to make real lasting change in our life. And in my grown-up interpretation of that, I'm learning to like broccoli. It's more like I am not creating a habit to where I eat broccoli on a regular basis. But it's something much more powerful. I am cultivating an appetite for the things that are healthy and good for me in life. Good habits are helpful, but this whole creating an appetite for something to where you actually crave it, boy, that's where things get easy and effortless. And most of our appetites have been cultivated unintentionally. It's really had more to do with our environment or our culture, like an appetite for a certain type of food. Where do you want to go for dinner? Kind of draws from that appetite place inside of us. Maybe you crave spicy Mexican food, or maybe you're more of a meat and potatoes kind of person. You don't really think about it. It just is. It's natural. And something that we probably don't realize is that we have an appetite, that natural craving for almost anything in our lives. We have a certain level of appetite or craving for peace or chaos in our life, for joy or gloom in our life, for noise or quiet, or an appetite for spending or for savings. And here's the thing, we always gravitate towards what feels normal or familiar. But we're not stuck. We can make a change. We can intentionally cultivate new appetites. I think of Romans 12, where Paul says, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I know that really has a primary spiritual application of understanding who we are in Christ and our citizenship in heaven. But there is practical application to our lives today, that we aren't conformed to maybe the broken, harmful, painful things of this world, but that we can be transformed to a life that is more of what God has designed for us. That joy and peace and help and happiness. To change that normal into something better. So here's a real easy illustration of that. Growing up, we grew up on margarine. That was kind of the norm back then, and maybe you're still a margarine fan. But that's all I knew. That was my culture. That was my upbringing. And it was cheap. It had that really strong butter, kind of, artificial butter taste. It spread so easily. And so, that was familiar. But it didn't take me very long at all to cultivate an appetite for real butter. I didn't just learn to like butter, I learned to love butter. Everything is better with butter on it. And life works much the same way, how we're raised, the things that were considered normal in our life. It's just what we're used to, it's what we're familiar with. But we can make a change. We can upgrade our lives in these areas. But if you've ever done this, you know that cultivating a new appetite feels, hard, uncomfortable, even, a little awkward. It's like there's something inside of you that is resisting that kind of change. Well, there is something inside of you that is resisting change. Our brain is wired to favor familiarity. And these old appetites, they feel familiar. It's an efficiency and safety mechanism. Familiar and predictable. It feels safe, even when it's unhealthy or even harmful for us. When we try something new, our brain triggers unfamiliar. This could be unsafe. And that triggers that feeling inside, that resistance, that discomfort. And we actually prefer that which is familiar. It feels safe, comfortable, takes less effort. And so we gravitate to that same level of peace or chaos, noise or quiet, joy or gloom, or spending versus savings. We see that in our wardrobe, in our home decor, in the cars we choose. We usually gravitate towards that which is familiar. But change is possible. Small, repeated, non-threatening actions actually send these proofs to your brain and start reprogramming it that this is safe and this is good. New neural pathways strengthen and old ones fade. So what felt uncomfortable or forced at first begins to feel natural. Growing up, the shortcut to Grandma's house was through the woods. And with 9 of us kids making that run through the woods to Grandma's house multiple times a day, that little pathway started to look more like a secondary road. But I went back years later and, I could almost not find the pathway. It had grown over, and had I not known it was there, I would have missed it completely. And this just illustrates that what we walk regularly becomes very easy and effortless, and what we don't walk eventually fades. So here's the mic drop moment. Are you ready? Unhealthy appetites aren't stronger. They're just more familiar. So as we're cultivating new appetites, we can't wait for the craving or the motivation to start. We have to make those small, repeated, non-threatening actions first. That sends those gentle proofs to your brain and allows us to create new pathways for these new appetites. That I'm learning to like broccoli. And once a pathway is established, the appetites, the cravings, those are what make the change just effortless and easy. And we don't have to do it perfectly. Our brain actually responds better to persistence than perfection. So if this appetite cultivation and making paths to Grandma's house click with you, we're gonna take it to the next step, from information to application. Because application brings an ownership. It becomes yours. So let's walk through this quick exercise together and start cultivating an appetite for one area in your life. Let's get started. Take a few slow breaths. Say out loud, God, I invite you into this time with me. Feel your body relax. There's nothing to fix right now. Just breathe and notice. Name the appetite you want to cultivate. Bring one area of your life to mind. just one. Could be physical health, peace and emotional calm, joy or gratitude, a financial steadiness, a relationship, whatever comes to mind. Now, ask yourself, without judgment or shame, what am I currently feeding in this area? Not what you wish you were feeding, just what is true. Now notice what comes up. Awareness is the beginning of change. Take one more slow breath. Now let's imagine what a healthier appetite in this area might feel like. Not perfect, just better. If it's health, imagine feeling a little more energized. If it's peace, imagine your nervous system settling. If it's joy, imagine moments of laughter. Now let that image sit for just a moment. Let yourself really feel it. And you're not committing to a lifestyle overhaul. You're simply allowing your brain to see something different. Now let's choose one small exposure. Appetite grows through exposure, not pressure. So what is one small, doable action you can repeat daily this week? It could be one healthy addition to a meal, a 5-minute walk, 2 minutes of stillness and prayer, writing down one thing you're grateful for. Make sure it feels ridiculously easy, almost too easy. If it feels big, shrink it. Tell your brain, this is safe, no resistance needed. Your brain learns through safety, not strain. Now let's remove one appetite killer. Gently ask yourself, what is one thing dulling my hunger for what I really want? It might be constant scrolling, negative self-talk, late night snacking, emotional spending. You're not removing everything, just one thing. Now imagine replacing it with something neutral or life-giving. Take a breath and let that feel possible. Next, we're going to anchor it to our day. Connect it with something that you already do during the day. So you'll decide when this will happen. After brushing your teeth, or during your morning coffee, after dinner, or before bed. And say to yourself, when this happens, I will do this. For example, after dinner, I will take a 5-minute walk. Simple, clear, easy. Next, we're going to release the need to feel motivated. So place your hand on your heart and say quietly, I don't need to crave this yet. I only need to practice it. Desire will catch up to action. Craving always follows repetition. And if you miss a day, just begin again. No shame. His mercies are new every morning. It's about progress, not perfection. So let's close with this. Take one last slow breath and affirm, I am already cultivating this appetite in my life. These small repeated steps make lasting paths. And over time, what felt unfamiliar will become natural, even craved. You're learning to love what gives you life. So there you have it, a simple, brain-friendly way to cultivate a new appetite in your life. An appetite for that fully alive life that God has designed for you. And you're not fighting yourself anymore. You're working with how your brain is wired, making new paths that feel easy and effortless. Before we wrap up, drop in the comments one thing that you'll be cultivating in your life this week. I love hearing from you and how your journey is going. And if this resonated, give it a like, a subscribe so you know when my next video posts. And then consider sharing this with a friend who might want to cultivate something new in their life as well. Here's to more moments of real, fully alive living. See you next time.